Hi, everyone. So one of your options for your unit project is to create a podcast. What is a podcast? I'm glad you asked. If I go to Google Classroom and on my keyboard, I'm going to click on Control Find and I'm going to search for podcasts. It'll take you to the topic at the bottom called Random Science for Fun. And then there are a couple of podcasts here. This first one will take you to Tumble Science Podcasts. Let's take a listen. This is just a short example of one.
Hi, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Marshall. Welcome to Tumble, the show where we explore stories of science discovery.
We know that you have a lot of questions about viruses right now. That's why today we're diving into the science of virology.
In this episode, we'll find out where coronavirus came from.
Plus, we'll learn how scientists discovered viruses before they could even see them, and how they built the tools to fight back.
Before we get to this week's episode, let me introduce a good friend of mine, Wingo the Bat.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, Wingo?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. It's a shame they can't see me. I think they'd be very excited about how big my ears are.
I think they'd be thrilled about that. So, Wingo, are you ready to help me make some announcements?
Sure am.
All right, well, let's have at it. So starting this month, we're doing a big drive for our Patreon members.
Yeah, every new person who supports Tumble on Patreon at the $10 level in October will get a free puppet telegram for me and my puppet friends.
Okay, so what they're doing right now is an advertisement, obviously, and this is how podcasts make a little bit of money. So I'm going to fast forward a bit to the middle of the podcast.
A parasite is an organism that lives off another organism called a host. A virus needs a host to live.
So as you can tell, a podcast is just a presentation through only your voice. You'll notice since you're limited to just your voice and sounds, right? You've got background music, you can interview people, you can talk about any sort of topic that you're interested in. And so for your podcast assignment, if you're interested in using this option, you would create a podcast, maybe of you interviewing someone about human body systems, and you could have a pretend someone. You can get a sibling or a parent or guardian to pretend like they're a famous athlete, a famous person, a doctor, nurse, EMT, whoever. And so how would you do that? There are so many ways. So starting your podcast, there's a guide here for students. That link at the bottom right-hand corner takes you to this website that gives you a lot of information. You can have it be as low tech or as high tech as possible. You've got options like you can use your phone, right? You can make a recording and send that over. You can also download an app called Anchor.fm. You can create a podcast through a website and using Anchor.fm. So I'm going to go over how to do this over here. So Anchor.fm is all I typed on for my website. So you can download this at the Apple Store or Google Play. It's free. I have it on my phone because I thought it was fun. So Anchor.fm. You're going to click on login. Scroll down. Even if you don't have an account, you're just going to click on the little G here for log in with Google. Pick your account, of course. And once this loads, so I already created a podcast site. If I wanted to create a new episode, it'll prompt you as to how to create an episode. You would say record, but you notice there was a little bit of music in the background when we first started the example. So you can click on transitions over here, and you can have that be your intro, and then you can record something like, welcome to this week's podcast, where we will be talking about not the coronavirus or, whatever it is. So then I'm going to stop recording. And I am going to, so this is what I recorded earlier. So I'll wait for this to process, or you can actually add it here to your queue for your episode. So it'll process, and maybe I want to add a transition at the end to close it. That sounds good. So then now I've got a beginning, middle, and end. If I wanted to introduce a guest speaker, maybe that would be another way to use the transition. When I'm finished and I'm happy with what's going on, I'll save the episode. Then you give it a title, intro to podcast number 2. And so this is just me testing out podcasts for my students. I would say publish now. And here you'll see that, yes, I don't have any sponsorships because I'm not trying to make money right now. But so here, when I play this, it'll be what we just created.
Welcome to this week's podcast.
So that's that. When you are finished and you want to turn in your podcast, you would click on copy link. And this allows you, or you can copy and embed, allows you to add to your digital interactive science notebook on slide 32. I'm going to double click here, copy, and then paste. And then this, when I click this now, it should take me back to the podcast. And so you can turn in your work that way. All right, well, hopefully you will have fun with this if you choose to create a podcast. And I look forward to hearing your work. Bye.